Hi friends, welcome back to the e-bike noob. Today we're going to talk about something pretty serious, and that's customer service. I know, big subject lately, but I'm going to explain a little bit more about the last video that I did, just kind of what happened, what's going on. I'm going to try to do this not so long. It was basically just a big rant. I'm going to try to, let's push forward. I'm pretty upset because I ordered a Sondors MadMods bike back in October of 2020. They said it was going to be ready. At that point, they had already changed the date once, but when I bought it, it was supposed to be May 2021. Cool. In April of 2021, they sent an email that said, we decided to do an upgraded fork. It's going to take 2 months to get those. So now your bike is going to come at the end of July. Maybe getting closer to July. They said, no, sorry, our bad. It's going to come at the end of August. So, don't cancel. You're in on the ground floor. You're getting the first batch. Sometimes these things happen. It's COVID. It's not our fault. Sorry, we can't do anything for you, but we're going to push on. So, it'll be worth it. Ground floor, it's going to be worth it. All right, fine. A few days ago, they sent us an email saying, sorry, but it's going to come at the end of October. So it just went from August to the end of October, which where I live renders the bike basically useless until, summer of, spring of 2022, because it's going to be cold for 6 months and there's a lot of snow. You can't really ride a street bike in the wintertime here. Not their problem, obviously, but it is my problem. It's a lot of people's problem. We gave them, a lot of money, $2,000. If you got it on the ground floor, is a little bit less, but I think now they're I don't know, around $2,000. You do have to pay for shipping with Sondors bikes. Anytime you buy a Sondors, remember an extra $140. I think I paid $140 for shipping, so that's coming when you buy a Sondors. But, a lot of us have given, $1,800, $2,000, whatever, to this company that they've had for, by the time we get the bike, they've had our money for over a year at this point. And, the reason I'm upset is they say everything's fine. Your bike's on track. Everything's going great right up until the point where they say, it's supposed to come, and they say, sorry, it's going to be a little bit longer. It's just a little bit longer. Hang on. I swear it's going to be worth it. No more delays, just a little bit longer. COVID, it's not our fault. Who could have seen this coming is what they say. Well, that's what they said when I talked to them. I was able to get through to a person one time over there. They were very nice, but basically all they said was, it's not our fault. Who could have seen this coming? To which I have two things to say. You're right, it's not your fault, but you did sell the bikes before COVID, or when COVID was happening. It's not like you sold us the bikes and then COVID happened. By the time we all placed the orders, even the earliest orders, COVID was 6 months into it, where manufacturing was already a mess. So it's you're right, it's not your fault that COVID happened, but it's your time that you chose. It's your fault that you chose such a convenient, attractive time frame. Early summer, late spring is when it's going to be ready. We swear we've been doing this, since 2015. We know what we're doing. We've had 26 bike launches. We know what we're doing. So when Sondor said that, we all trusted them. At least I did. I trusted them. And even, whatever, if they're a few months off, I knew it was COVID at that point. Things are kind of crazy. So if they're a few months off, even a month, 2, 3 months at the worst, I'll still have a bunch of summer to ride. Awesome. This is going to be great. We didn't get them, we'll get into some reasons as to why I think why. But the other thing the customer service rep said was, who could have seen this coming? And again, I have a pretty, I think, good response to that is, you should have seen this coming. Sondors, somebody at Sondors not only could have seen delays, but you should have seen them. Like the person told me, they've launched 26 bikes. I'm sure most of those have had some kind of delays, or, somewhere some have had them. Why couldn't they have just give us a different shipping date? They could have picked any date, and they, conveniently chose, May of 2021, right at the beginning of summer, right when it starts getting warm out, which that was a huge reason I bought that bike, was just the delivery date. And there were others at that time. That was right like when the Grizzly and the Ariel X52, I think some of the Monday motorbikes at that point, I think you were able to order a Super 73. The Rise bikes they're awesome. You could have got one of those. And but they picked that May shipping date, and I think they knew that it was not coming in May. And again, that's speculation. I wish we had someone from Sondors, to talk to. I requested that, and at first they sounded kind of interested, but they just refused to get back to anybody. So it seems like they do not want to have any kind of communication with their customers. So I just have to speculate as to, what I think's going on there. But what we can actually, what we know for sure is a couple of things. So I'm going to get to that. And I'm sorry if this sounds, kind of like a rant video. It's not my intention. It's just I want to point out some things that Sondors is just really, being kind of shady about and very misleading. So let me just point out a couple of things here. They said, when I talked to the customer service rep, she said it was a review. There was one of these prototype bikes that got out there to Electrek, Micah, who does awesome work. You should absolutely watch their channel, subscribe. They're great. But he had it was just like an article where he did a review on some of the mid-drive stuff, and then they gave him a MadMods too. To which he said the fork was not very great, the rear shock was not very great, the seat was not very comfortable, and it was underpowered. Right, so a few things that he said, just wasn't that great, which Sondors really took advantage of that. And Micah, I'm sorry, buddy, but they threw you under the bus, because when I talked to them, they said basically the reason the whole delays happened to be in the first place was because your review said there was a bad fork. So they had a knee-jerk reaction to that and decided to change the fork design and, source something else. Because of Micah's review, which, thanks for being honest. We appreciate that. But they pretty much blamed it on that poor review. They reacted to that in such a way that caused them to, change the design of the fork, which put the, original shipping date back 2 months. So that kind of led to the next set of delays, which was the just shipping delays, the containers, the ports, all that kind of stuff, which led to more of those and more of those, which was really, really convenient, considering that they still to this day don't have a actual picture or photo of the Sondors MadMods on their website. There's some prototype reviews. There was another. He's like a former BMX racer. They let him ride one around and filmed that. Looked great, looked fantastic, but that's not the bike they're using in any like ads or anything like that. Go right now, go to their website, minimize this or, swipe it up, go to Google, check out their website, and you will see artist renderings, cartoons, drawings of the bikes. There's no cables on them. It's just, they're clearly not real. They're pictures, not photos, but like drawing pictures of the MadMods bikes. So, a lot of people in like the Facebook groups, I'm not saying it's true or not, but, it would totally make sense that none of the bikes actually exist. They're saying that they're on these containers and they're stuck in shipping, but, nobody's ever really seen one. It's just one thing after another. What they basically said was it's because of that poor review about the fork. Which if in my response to that was, so if you just wouldn't have done that, then they would have shipped out. We would have gotten them originally in May. So when I asked them, what would have happened if you didn't change that design of the fork, they wouldn't really say for sure, but we can only speculate that the bikes would have just shipped out on time and we'd be riding them right now instead of doing this. Would have been really nice. Again, maybe someone out there at Sondors could shed some more light on that, but again, they just a knee-jerk reaction to Micah's review, and that's why we don't have our bikes. And then the part that really just really grinds my gear is a terrible Peter Griffin. Sorry. I could do Bob for Bob's Burgers. All right, we'll do Bob for Bob's Burgers, but just for like a minute or so. Tita, hey, cut it out back there. She's messing with her brother. I know, she does it all the time. But anyways, let's get back to this. No more cartoon voices. They try to try to blame this whole thing. You know, they try to spin it into a positive. That's the thing that really grinds my gears. They try to make it seem like they're doing us a favor by giving us an upgraded fork, you know, which that's the reason, the first delay and then the next delay and all that, you know, it's because of these forks. And then from there, it wasn't our fault, but we were just trying to help you out. You know, it's so convenient for you, Sondors. It's very, very convenient for you and inconvenient for anyone who paid their $2,000 and doesn't have a bike to ride. So, you know, we appreciate you making that decision. Next time, and again, I wish someone was here to talk this out with us, but they're not. So I'm going to tell you what you should have done. I bought an aerial rider X-Class, the first generation of those. I hope you've seen my videos about that. There's a video in there somewhere. Go back and find it. It's great. Where Aerial Rider realized that they sent out bikes that, you know, the forks weren't up to their standards. They thought, hey, these things are like not good. Maybe they were getting complaints about them. Mine was okay. You know, it had its issues, but it was fine. It worked. But out of the blue, one day I got a box in the mail containing a brand new upgraded fork to put on my Aerial Rider bike. I didn't ask for it. They just sent it to me because they felt that, you know, I should have an upgraded fork. So Sondors, you know, next time you decide to change something, how about you send the customer the bike, and then if you really think it's that big of a deal, send that part after the fact. You know, we're big boys and girls. We can put that on. We're big people. We can figure that out. But, you know, again, it just seems a little bit more likely that that's just a big cop-out and, you know, there was no upgraded fork. Really, you know, if that's the case, and please respond to this, why didn't you upgrade the motor that Micah said was underpowered? Did you give it a more plush seat? And did you upgrade the rear suspension as well? Because he complained, you know, not complained, but he pointed out 4, you know, pretty good weak spots on the bike. And, you know, it's nice that you addressed one of them, but I don't think you addressed any of them. I think you just used one of those things as an excuse. So, again, you feel free to respond to that. I'd love to hear what Sondors has to say. What else? All right. Here's again, I don't want to make this too ranty, but here's something, you know, if you're getting bored at this point, you can go quantify this. Go open another browser, go to Sondors' page, look at those awesome cartoon drawings of their bikes. Look at the cafe model. That's the one I ordered. It's advertised to have a hugger front fender on it. So it's got a fender to keep the rain and mud off of you. And it's supposed to sit just like right over the front wheel. So it's got that low pro look, you know, low profile. Looks really cool. Honestly, in the picture, you know, in the cartoon, it looks fantastic. The problem is with an inverted motorcycle style fork that they have on these bikes, that design is absolutely not going to work because every time you hit a bump, it's going to smash into the fender. That's the part of the wheel that travels. So if that fork is sitting right on top of the wheel, every time you hit a bump, it's going to scrape into it. Review that Micah did, you know, with that prototype looking bike, the front fender has, you know, a huge gap, just like every other, you know, e-bike and like dirt bike out there. You know, it's just kind of how it's done. But they advertise to have this cool looking hugger thing. Maybe they just didn't realize like that's not going to work at all. Or, you know, possibly maybe they realized that once they decided to change to this upgraded fork. Probably what they would say. Well, no, you know, it's because we did this upgraded fork, so we got it taken care of. Maybe. But then how come to this day on the website it's still advertised that way? You know, even if you thought it through and changed the design, which is, you know, evident on that prototype bike that you obviously ran into that issue, maybe you did change it. But then why are you still advertising it to have that hugger fender design? It's not a big deal. It's a stupid fender. Who the hell cares? It's a stupid fender. It's probably going to break off anyways. You know, it's not a big deal. But just why would Sondors advertise it that way? To me, it doesn't make sense. Or it just shows that they don't care. They absolutely do not care either about these bikes or, you know, the people that bought the bikes. I'm not sure what it is. But it's very weird. You know, something about the whole thing is just not quite adding up. At least not to me. And maybe that's because I already gave them my money. You know, if I was just a fly on the wall, maybe I'd be a little more open-minded in this. But again, they've had my money. By the time I get my bike, they will have had my money for over a year, which Has anyone out there ever gotten a free loan for a year? Someone just give you, a whole bunch of money and ask not to pay interest or anything? Go see what, a credit card would charge over, just an interest over a 1 year, purchase on 17, 18, $2,000, whatever it is. But Sondors just got all of that from us absolutely for free. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's a big Ponzi scheme. Again, I'm not saying that at all. I don't want people to think that I think that this is just a huge, massive Ponzi scheme. So again, I am not saying that at all. Just think about it though. And we'll probably wrap it up there. Again, if somebody from Sondors, I got notes. I'm looking at notes here. I've got 2 pages of just things that I wanted to talk about with someone from Sondors. That's what I was going to wrap this up with. If somebody wants to, talk to us, that's what I'm hoping to get out of this video. At this point, the bikes are probably coming at some point, maybe, but just talk to us. Everyone's running the same problems. And again, that's not what I'm griping about. It's just the way that Sondors not only is handling it now, but has been handling it for the past 9 or 10 months. But they're dropping the ball. People are mad. We all want answers. So let me know what you think. If you have one of these bikes on order, if you have questions, please let us know. I'll do my best to speculate and respond. It's probably not super accurate information, but I'll give it a shot. Thanks for sticking around. I'll try to edit this so it's not super long and ranty, but it probably will be. So hope you're having a great day.